think about it. Like normally when somebody says, oh, that's a nice guy, that's just a nice way to give a compliment to somebody without actually coming out and saying, like, that person is exceptional. That person knows how to crush it. That person knows how to something amazing. Welcome to another Rags Riches Secrets. Today's podcast is how to stop being a nice guy, unleashing the alpha. Okay, there's a big reason why I want to do this podcast today. And so I'll break down 3 things that you ought to really consider when you think about this. So let's just say you're at work. Let's just say where you're at whatever location. How do you want people to know you? Do you want somebody to come out and say, oh yeah, he's a real nice guy. Oh yeah, she's a really nice gal. Or do you want them to come out and say, man, that's a beast. They know how to get things done. Like, would you want to be known as the nice guy? Because think about it. Like normally when somebody says, oh, that's a nice guy, that's just a nice way to give a compliment to somebody without actually coming out and saying, like, that person is exceptional. That person knows how to crush it. That person knows how to something amazing. And so we're looking at, when I say unleash the alpha, is becoming known or being associated with somebody that has been highly successful, highly productive, highly whatever it is. It's no longer just a nice guy. Nice guy you just throw out there. I'm talking about somebody that's a beast or get something done. So number 2, a lot of times when you start thinking of a nice guy or a nice gal, one of the things that they do, this is a huge mistake they make, is they don't want to pick a direction. They don't want to go this way. They don't want to go that way because it might hurt somebody's feelings. Somebody might get offended. Like they might say something like, people are going to get butthurt, okay? And if you think about it, there is nobody on the planet that's ever successfully been somebody that didn't get somebody else upset. Let me take an example. You take Christ. Like, we understand from the Bible that he was perfect, but yet did everybody like him? They did not. Nobody goes out and says that he's just a nice guy. They talk about him as like, dude, he's my savior. He's this, he's that. Like, they have a lot of ways to take and describe him. And it's not usually something like, what a nice guy, right? Because he became somebody significant. And so just understand that as you take a stand or you make a decision or you go in a direction, not everybody's going to be satisfied with it. And that's okay. That's the alpha way. The alpha way does not always, just think of it. The alpha is not the beta, okay? The beta loves to follow the alpha. The alpha is the one that says, okay, like, I want to make sure that we got a good environment. I want to make sure that we're safe. I want to make sure that these things are right. And they put things in place. They don't allow somebody to create their life. They fashion their own life. You know what I'm talking about? If you think about it, you go to work and somebody's like, oh yeah, like so-and-so's a nice guy. Maybe we ought to move him around or this or that. But they start picking and choosing your career for you. Instead of you discovering or finding out what you want, you allow somebody else to, based on what they want to do, based on their thoughts, based on what they want to accomplish, decide to assign you to a different post instead of allowing you to fashion a career for you, okay? That's what I'm talking about in the sense of a nice guy. Alphas create things. They don't have other people necessarily create them for them. So you say, I want a good life. You go create the good life. You say that you want to accomplish this. You go do this. Like one of the things that I've noticed about alphas and leaders and people that like literally succeed, what they do is they discover what fascinates them, what interests them, and then they pursue that thing. So like one of the things that an alpha becomes very, very good as they start moving down this path is they learn how to say yes and they learn how to say no. Now, like think about it. Are there decisions or things or opportunities that people present in front of you where you're like, oh man, that sounds like such a good opportunity, but I don't know if I want to do it, right? And you can sit there and vacillate because you don't know which way to go. But here's what happens. Once you obtain clarity on the direction that you're going, clarity on what you're trying to accomplish, clarity on what your end goal is, then when somebody presents a thing to you, you're like, nah, does that align with my goal? No, that doesn't align. I think we're going to have to move on from that. Then it becomes easy to say no to things because you know how to say yes to other things. maybe one of the easiest ways to see what I'm talking about is if you think about marketing. When they talk about marketing, they say pick your avatar. Like, what is the demographic? Who is this person that you're trying to help? And it actually helps if you get a picture of them, get a name on it, associate. This is who it is. This is the person I'm helping, a person that works 9 to 5. He's 35 years old. He drives home from work every day. He listens to my podcast. He's got 2 kids. He's frustrated with life because he's working a 9 to 5. He's never going to get ahead if he keeps doing exactly what he's doing. And then you can go down into very descriptive detail on what you're talking about. And then somebody comes to you and says, hey, I think you should talk about makeup on your podcast. And you can always say, the only way you're interested in talking about that is like, hey, my guy likes girls with makeup on them. And these are the things, this is the kind of girl that he likes to, like how he likes to see her or whatever, right? Like, you would not be interested in that because it is not aligned with what you're going at. And so just understand that as you start making decisions and start deciding and picking your own future, you're going to polarize yourself, which means that there's going to be things you say yes to, and there's things that you're going to say no to. Okay, so number 3. This one right here, this one's a big one. This is one that Tony Robbins ran into, and I'll show it to you. The friends, the circle of influence, as you start becoming an alpha, they are not going to want to necessarily be around you anymore. They're going to become uncomfortable. In fact, because they become uncomfortable, you will be tempted to surrender obtaining your right, like your right in this world. You will be tempted to forego the good life so that you do not displease the people and the friends and associates that are around you. Now you might be saying, Mike, like that makes no sense. Like, what do you mean? I'll give you an example. Like Tony Robbins, he ran into this. When he was a younger kid, he was called the Younger Boy or Wonder Boy. At the age of 17, he got kicked out. Everybody kind of had this nickname Wonder Boy because he figured out how to do things. He figured out how to make money. And what he did is as he started making money, his friends became uncomfortable around him. Because he started, it's like, say he's making like maybe he's like making 20 grand a month at the age of 18. They're like making 20 grand maybe in a year, and he's making that at the age of 18. And all of a sudden, it became uncomfortable for him. And he said that it actually, he goes, what happened is because I became uncomfortable with my success because my friends didn't have it. He goes, I started showing up late for meetings. Why? He goes, I didn't really understand it. And I started picking up habits that didn't work well for me. I started putting on all kinds of weight, just eating like crazy. And he goes, and I started shifting my habits. And these habits are habits that were in place that were comfortable around my friends. But what it really did is it sabotaged my success. Then I went from living the good life to living like no life. And then I had to actually, so he dropped all the way down to the bottom. Once he realized, he goes, oh my gosh, I have compromised and given up my success because I didn't want people around me to be uncomfortable. And he goes, holy crap, I had to make some changes in my life and level up. And so as he started leveling up, he said he was talking about, he was like right on the beach of California. It was like this like castle, like this killer house, ridiculous, right? Really, really cool place. He's like, I'm going to own that. Within 1 year, he went from nothing, like I'm talking washing his dishes in his bathtub in a studio because he didn't have a kitchen sink, to actually living inside that place. That's how quickly he was able to take and to turn things back around. Once he realized what he was doing and he was compromising, sabotaging success. So here's what I want you to know about this. You're going to have to probably level up your friends to start getting into circles with people with higher frequency. Like think of a multi-layer cake. You see these multi-layer cakes and what happens is at the bottom it's one layer. Like you mix it all up like a pudding, right? And then you put it inside these cups and then the layers start forming naturally because they start forming and creating the division based on their lightness or whatever it is. People are the same way. We operate on a vibe or on a frequency level. And if you level up, you're going to be on a different frequency and people around you are not going to want to be on that same level. And so you've got to discover, or you got to be okay with knowing that people around you are not going to be comfortable. You probably won't trade out your family. Now, I'm not suggesting that you do that, but what I am saying is there is a highly, highly likely, unless your friends go with you on your journey, you will end up having to make some changes to do this. If you ever look up my creed, it's called the Alpha Hammer Creed. I take the Alpha because it's a defender, it's a protector, but I pick the hammer because it's not the nice guy. It's the thing that hits with precision. It's the thing that's persistent. It's the thing that gets stuff done. It's the thing that executes. It's the thing that it is the driver that hits with precision to create the good life. And that's what I'm talking about. Like, here's one thing. Like if you're like me and you're in pursuit of the good life, okay? You're gonna have to say, I've got to be okay with being an alpha. Like that means you've got to be okay with the ability to lead. It means you have to be okay with the ability to protect. Hammer means that you're gonna get stuff done. You will become a driver. You will become a force in nature that forces, like it doesn't ask reality to become something. It creates the reality. It fashions the good life, okay? And if you're like that, then this is the right place for you. Check out the Alpha Hammer Creed. It is a cool creed, and see if it aligns well with you. You're trying to figure out how to be an alpha hammer in your wealth and prosperity. Go to my website, 𝗤𝗡𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀😅 Why would I even suggest that you go there? Here's what happens. If the people who can make a difference in the world, that could do good on the planet, if they don't stand up and if they are not monetized and if they are not living the good life and prosperity, it is hard to make an impact if you are flat but broke. Alphas, we do not operate in the world of broke. We operate in the world of wealth and prosperity. And so, like one of the things that I have on my website, 𝗤𝗡𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 discovered a couple secrets. One, the best way to start making a living and have exponential income is to figure out how to sell things. Number two is you got to figure out how to sell things without being bogged down with tons of employees, because I said the good life, you've got to find a way to get freedom. So that is a done for you service that allows you to generate sales and participate in the revenue like the big boys. Anyway, that, my friends, is another Rags to Riches Secrets, and I will talk to you later.